Welcome to Leadership Labs. I'm Louise and Maurice, leadership mentor and founder of the Academy for Holistic Leadership. We are continuing with my Get Results Confidence Coaching Framework. When you hear me say client, I want you to imagine the person or group of people you lead and apply the training to your real-world leadership situations. Let's continue. In Lab 1, you learn a real-world case study that reflects a challenge leaders face every day. To protect privacy, the case study is reenacted using an AI avatar based on a real-world leadership scenario. All the resources I mention in this professional training are free and linked in the description below. Let's get started. In this section, we are going to focus on session number 5 of the Get Results Confidence Coaching Program. Remember, this is a 10-session program, and session number 5 is important because we are now focused on the second E of Get Results. Remember, Get Results is an acronym. Each letter stands for something, and I am piggybacking on that word, so it guides you and it gives you insight about what you are going to learn, but also a way to guide your clients. And that E stands for events. Events, situations, things that have happened. And as we move through, we're going to talk about it, the people, physiology, process, procedures, phrasing, as well as performance. But as we continue on with this lecture, we're going to meet our next sample client. And this client, remember, you've been hired by a company. And this new company, you're going in there, and yeah, it's an education institution, right? So you're going in there and you're going to meet with the teachers because their confidence is being derailed. Lots of things have happened. We've got the pandemic, post-pandemic. There are so many changes to the way that they have to teach. Sometimes they're in the classroom, sometimes they're online, and it really does get to people, especially if they don't find that they are technologically advanced. So you've got to go in there. They've hired you to coach these people so that it can build their confidence. They can feel better about themselves. And as you are listening to this client, I want you to key in on what the event is. What the event is that she is not feeling confident about. All right, let us listen in.
The employee performance review is coming up, and I don't know what happens to me. It's just me. But the moment I think about it, I feel this knot in my stomach. It's heavy, it's uncomfortable, and it won't go away. There's so much riding on it, my future, my reputation, even how people see me in this company. And instead of feeling prepared, I just feel overwhelmed. I keep telling myself I should be ready. I should know what to say. I should know how to show up. But the truth is, I don't. I haven't been given any clear direction, no guidance, nothing to help me understand what they expect. And when that happens, I shut down. I freeze. I can't think straight. I can't even take the first step. It feels like everything is piling up, and I'm sinking under the weight of it all. I don't know what's going on with me. I don't know why I can't just push through. But right now, I feel stuck. I feel powerless, and I don't know how to move forward.
Were you able to guess what happened, what that event was? Yeah, she is actually being reviewed, an employee performance review. And that has definitely triggered something in her. And it's that memory of past reviews and the fact that now she's making excuses. Well, I've been given no direction. And this is where, when you have a client like this, you have to be able to empower them. You have to be able to move them in a way where they take ownership of their reaction to this event. Now, Does that say that you have to be cold-hearted and not understand them? No, not at all. I want you to be whoever you are as a coach. So if you tend to be maybe a little bit of tough love type of coach, that's fine, because then you are going to resonate with clients that's the type of parenting they received when they were growing up. And as we continue with the next lecture, I will share more about why that happens. But if you are the kind of person who you are a bit more tender loving, not that you are going to be in that way with your client. Obviously, there are protocols in place, but I'm talking about just that feeling, the compassion, the empathy. If that's the way you are, then that's fine. You can move your client in that way, because a client like this will tend to resonate more with a coach who is more empathetic and compassionate, but also will give them direction and guidance and move them in a way that empowers them. And that's why I want to give you these sample clients, because you have a sense of the clients that are out there. Now, when you are just working one-on-one with clients and you get to choose your clients, you might not choose to work with someone like this. But when you get hired by a company to go in there and coach their staff, then you have no choice. You have to be able to understand all different types of people. And the ones that are highly sensitive, they will work well with an empathetic and compassionate coach, one who is listening without judgment, but that can guide them. All right, so just be aware of the differences, because you have to be able to meet them where they're at and understand all of this so that you can guide them in a way that best supports them. In the next lecture, we're going to focus on the physiology as well as the neuro-linguistic programming procedure, right? The coaching technique that we are going to use. Let's continue. In that last section, we talked about our client, and understanding people is important, but understanding the underlying physiology helps you to understand them even more. And the central nervous system, the brain, and how it is linked with every other part of the body, that becomes so important. Because the central nervous system, we talk about the fight, flight, or freeze. That is what is navigating all of that. Fight, flight, or freeze. And when you have a client that really is sensitive, they will freeze up on you. And you might have a client that is not so sensitive, but you want to be that tough love coach. Well, then you're going to have them fighting with you. There's going to be a lot of chaos. And flee. The ones that avoid, the ones that escape, and either physically, emotionally, or through substance, they will just escape. You've lost them. And this is all the central nervous system, because the brain, that the whole purpose is survival. And the central nervous system has that memory. And this is what happens. Okay, when I'm feeling threatened in any way, then I am going to choose those three, depending on what has worked for me in the past. And this is where you have to become very much aware of what their programming is, that behavior that's been locked in, because it's their defense mechanism and it's going to keep them safe. And you don't want clients that are fighting with you all of the time, but you also don't want clients that are avoiding or fleeing or escaping. And that's where ones that freeze, well, they're never going to benefit at all from your coaching if you cannot engage with them. And that is where the trigger states procedure, neuro-linguistic programming, the trigger states, understanding what triggers your clients. That gives you a benchmark and a basis to go by. Because obviously, when we listen to our client, she's very much anxious. There is a lot of anxiety about any type of review. And quite possibly, she grew up in a household where she was treated harshly. And anytime that, she was just told, well, figure it out yourself, and not given any direction, and then she messed up and made a mistake, and then she was disciplined harshly, that is going to be hardwired in the central nervous system. Don't screw up. Don't make a mistake. You can't fail, because then you're going to get disciplined. And the harsher that a child is disciplined, the more that this is hardwired in the central nervous system, and the more that these trigger states come out, the anxiety, the fear, the angst, the worry, the stress. And all of these states describe our client that we just listened to. All of them. And that is where I want you to be aware, because as we continue on, you are going to be introduced to an online resource that's going to help you to guide your clients so that they can change their trigger states and change it into ones that are more positive and uplifting, and give them a feeling of being supported, and help them to see their world in a different way, but help them to hardwire themselves or rewire themselves. And then obviously the coaching process, we will pull in the trigger states and just have them, through the questioning, really be aware of that. But in the next lecture, we will look at the preparation. Are you ready? Let's continue. Thank you for completing this Confidence Coaching Leadership Lab. Every skill you practice here strengthens your ability to lead with clarity, confidence, and grounded presence in real-world situations. If you'd like to continue developing your human-centered leadership and coaching skills, you'll find additional resources, leadership labs, and professional training. Links in the description below. I appreciate you being here and investing in your growth as a leader.